think about, transitioning that to private equity, which is the crux of this article, is to say, well, hey, that's all happening for private credit and people are freaking out. Well, what about private equity? It's even more wild because private equity, what can happen is when a fund acquires an interest in a business, it puts it on its balance sheet but in the process of that, there's all sorts of things that go into how much is put on the balance sheet. In other words, you can book the purchase price. You could book the value of the asset at a different value than what you actually paid for it. You basically can make the case that I got such a screaming deal. In a lot of cases, that's true for a private equity fund. They're buying something that's got way more intrinsic value than what they paid for it because maybe they bought it in distress. Maybe it's a perfectly good company that just ran out of cash and had no prospects for getting more cash. So they're like, wait, this is a good business. We'll pick it up. We got the cash. But anyway, so the point is you can do all of these calculations about market value and things like that. It's kind of subjective and you can put on your balance sheet a certain value. But guess what? You still have to do, they call it mark to market, impairment testing, if you will. And you do that quarterly as well. I think you can go for like a period of time before you actually do that, I want to say. But at a certain point in time, you're doing it regularly. So think about the fact that there's all sorts of subjective ways to look at a market value of a company. And so you can make a case for any number of things at even an inflated value. So you might be able to kind of surmise that there might be some moral hazard in that where, somebody that runs a fund might be incentivized to keep a value inflated for just a little while we work this other portfolio company out so that they don't, as Ed said, lose that denominator from which their 2% asset management fees calculated off of and their profits interest that is, partially due to the actual book profitability of that fund. So it's way more complex, I would say, or I guess more subjective than private credit. But so, people aren't rushing to mark things down. Let me just tell you that.